Welcome to this edition of City Pulse. We're here today with the Economic Development Director, Bill Savage, and of course, Ron, the Mayor. Today we're going to talk about a few things that are coming up in Elwood. The Warner Bodies thing. I know it just officially opened. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we had the official grand opening last Wednesday, and the ceremony was fantastic, and the weather was great, cooperative. It rained the day before and it rained the day after, and there was probably 250 people there. And they had vendors. We had Victor Smith, the Secretary of Commerce of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, there as a dignitary, and made a little speech for everybody. Ron and the people that own Warner Bodies, Rick Manasek's the president, and his whole family. They are just so community oriented. They really want to be part of the community, and it's really great to have somebody like that bring jobs to Elwood, and they want to be part of Elwood. It's really good.
So I heard they had tours and stuff going on.
Yes, they conducted tours of the plant, and they broke up into different groups because they had so many people there. I think there were probably 10 different groups.
Yeah, a lot of folks turned out, and it was really nice meeting some of the vendors. I know, Bill, I saw you talking to several, and
Yes.
you know, we were meeting folks from Illinois and different states that are coming in and either sell to them or buy from them, you know, one way or another, or a vendor in some capacity. And so it was their first introduction to Elwood, and you know, so it was through this they were introducing new businesses, even through their grand opening day, and heard very positive comments from those folks that they understood why Warner would want to move to Elwood after they came here. So that was it was great to hear. So.
I took the tour and it looks completely different inside from when Plastic had it.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's something to see, and there's still, we were fortunate. We got Rick Manasek taking us on our tour. I don't know who took you on yours, but you know, Rick was still talking about, you know, here's where another new piece of equipment's going to go, and here's where this new paint system's going to go, and his vision for that facility is just phenomenal.
He was like that from the beginning. Rick went in there, and the building was full of all the what we call junk. It was just the equipment left over. There were fork trucks, tools, everything just left when Plastic moved out when they declared bankruptcy. But when Rick first walked through there, he had a vision of this, where this was going to go, and this, and the burned out, the paint booth area that caught on fire before Plastic left. You know, Rick decided to keep that, remove all the burned out equipment, salvage it for metal, and then put a new roof on it and retain the square footage for the integrity of the building. And, you know, he just had a vision for everything, and it is unbelievable what that looks like now. I mean, it almost looks like a brand new factory.
It does.
And I got to talk to a lot of the employees, because they had a lot of their employees there that day too,
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of them are from Elwood, and so it was as the mayor, it was satisfying to talk to folks who are employed there that live in Elwood, raising their families in Elwood, and now making a good living. I mean, they've got a good job right here in town. And that's been mine and Bill's passion from the beginning, and one of the things that we shared was our desire to see Elwood folks get the lion's share of these jobs, and the Warner Bodies folks have been great to accommodate that, and we got to talk to a lot of them that day, so it's good to see. You know, I think one thing, there are some things you just don't want to forget. One, that was our first effort with our redevelopment commission, and we were able to take a huge piece of industrial blight that had not been producing any property tax income, no payroll tax income, nothing, for 5 years. The back taxes owed were staggering. The cleanup costs were staggering. It was very daunting. That was our first effort that was successful, and they came to town with a $7 million payroll, and that's huge for a city of less than 10,000. And so we're just, on many different levels, we're excited. What makes it just overall super is those folks are such good people. And they really care about our community, and they've supported many of our causes already. They've supported our humane shelter and our pool, and they took over sponsorship of the Glass Festival Parade this year.
They sponsored the Christmas lights.
The Christmas lights. They've just, I don't think they've said no to us yet on any of our projects in our community, and not just to the city. They're supporting the chamber and other organizations. So we're just so excited they're in town, and I know for Bill and I, it was just personally gratifying for both of us, because that was our first big thing, wasn't it, Bill? Right out of the
Real
gate,
big. And you know, that I was involved with it when it first went bankrupt, and you know, some people wanted to use that property just for warehousing. You know, they were going to just knock off the burned out section and build a wall, and all they needed was warehouse space. But you know, Ron come in, and the idea of creating the redevelopment commission, and did that really quick, and then the focus on jobs. And you know, we stuck with the jobs focus, and because there were other people that were interested in that property too, but we stayed with the jobs. We got jobs for Elwood.
That's a big thing.
That was our focus, and it continues to be. And there's some other projects Bill wants to talk about today that are going on, and that continues to be our focus. Our Elwood jobs for Elwood people, and I think you know, Bill, you talked about that long before I became mayor, but it's something we shared individually, and then as we worked together. We've seen companies come in and a lot of folks get jobs, and they're not from Elwood, and that's a hit to our community when that happens. And so we want to make sure that Elwood folks have that, at least have that opportunity. And I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up our relationship with the John H. Hines Career Center and Jim Pearson and Tammy Davis. I just can't say enough good about the two of them. What they're accomplishing out there in the Career Center. You can take Ivy Tech classes out there, Purdue classes out there. What you can do right here in Elwood to further your education to get a job. You can take the welding class to get a job at Warner Bodies. You can take that in Elwood, thanks to Jim and Tammy. And their hiring of Malcolm, who runs that welding program.
They had faith. Jim and Tammy and the school board went along with it too. They had faith when we first started talking to Warner Bodies. We knew Warner used welders. You know, they have welders, and they needed experienced welders. They weld aluminum. Aluminum welding is a little more complicated than steel, and so they went and created the welding class again and hired Malcolm from Fishers or Noblesville, but he was a qualified instructor, a good instructor, and that's they had faith in us because
that's true.
We just started negotiating with Warner Bodies, and I've got a good friend that happens to be on the school board, and maybe related to me, my brother.
He's a great member of that body.
And he's on,
just
so
because he's your brother.
Little conversations with
many other ways. Bob's worked with the city in incredible ways. I'm indebted and very grateful.
Yeah, and the discussions about Warner's, and then they had faith in what we were doing, and they went ahead and got the welding course set up, and everybody followed through with what they said.
They did, and that's I'm glad you brought that point up, because looking back now, it looks of course they did, but when we started out on this, there was no sure thing there. I mean, we were fresh out of the gate. This was our first at bat, and to hit a grand slam, your first at bat. My son just told me yesterday there's a guy who just played his first major league game, and his first at bat was a home run, and I said, I kind of know how that feels, because that was our first at bat. And to hit a grand slam like that was.
It's amazing what you can do when you get a bunch of people together and they work together to do something.
That's exactly right. And for everyone to understand that there was risk involved. There was no sure thing when we took that facility, and Bill took me out there, and we dug flashlights out of his car and went into there, and I looked at Bill and said, what have we done? And you know, and we reassured each other that day, we're going to be successful. We're determined enough that we're going to make this work. But there was no sure thing, and so the Career Center had faith, and they believed in what we were trying to accomplish, and so they stepped up, and everyone stepped up and worked together. And you can. We've talked about that many times on this program, that together we can accomplish great things. And man, if the last 3 years haven't been anything, they've been that we've proven that, from our city pool to blight removal, which Bill wants to talk about too, so I don't want to hog all the time talking about Warner, but I'm enjoying my Warner cozy and can cozy here
I see
from
you
the
had a
grand
Warner
opening.
hat too.
I've got all the gear, and I'm proud to wear it, because it's great to have a company that you know loves the community as much as you do, and so I'm proud to wear their stuff, and know that they're part of our family now. So,
And you were talking about the redevelopment projects. I know before we started taping, you had mentioned something about a red gold project.
Oh yeah, that should be. I was just telling Ron that'll be our next success story, with the big success story with the redevelopment commission and job creation. The former Indiana-Michigan AEP Service Center out on State Road 28 on the east side of Elwood became available. We aggressively pursued that property. We actually had to outbid somebody else to get that property, and what we wanted to do was create jobs, and we did. And Red Gold was successful. They letter of intent and the acquisition. They're working on the acquisition of that property, but it's RG Transport actually.
I'm sorry.
It's RG Transport. It'll be their new headquarters, and they're working on. I just saw yesterday they've got an application in for incentives to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and they've got they're planning on investing about $500,000 or so in that building, and they got to do a little upgrading and doing some things. But I guess they factored out. They estimated they plan to hire 20 or 30 more people just in that project too.
That's more jobs.
That's more jobs.
More jobs.
And I don't think we get focused on Red Gold, their manufacturing facility in Elwood, but RG Transport, their trucking company, does more than just ship for Red Gold. I mean, they're shipping for other folks as well, and so that investment with their corporate headquarters being there on Main Street or Highway 28 in Elwood, and the $1 million+ that they're going to have invested in that facility when it's all said and done, and the creation of another 25 or 30 jobs, Pam. These are decent jobs. These are not minimum wage jobs. Is an incredible boon for our community, and they have other facilities outside of Elwood. So RG Transport could be located somewhere other than Elwood, Indiana. It's not. There were options that they had, that they could take that business somewhere else, and we're thrilled that has worked out, because that's another one. You step up and you know the right thing to do, and you have to do it. And that was we knew that facility had to be something that could be used for creating more jobs for our community. And so we, as Bill said, we did aggressively pursue that. We did not want to lose that opportunity, Pam. So that was another one where you have to take some chances in order to make a difference. And
we took a big chance. Basically, we had to bid. We had to get appraisals and bid on it. And the average of our two appraisals, which is required for the redevelopment commission, ended up being $6,100 more than the other bid. So we won the bid, and then we didn't know. At that time, we didn't know for sure if we had to sit on it for a while or make payments, bond through TIF money, through the redevelopment commission. We thought we'd have to bond and pay for it and have a closing with Indiana, Michigan, and then try to market it. we actually got it worked out to where it's, Red Gold came on board, and we actually had somebody else interested in it too, not just RG Transport.
Yeah, there were two bids,
There were two people interested in it.
two proposals.
And the RG Transport proposal came out the best, and it turned out that the redevelopment commission then did not have to bond. We did a simultaneous closing. They're working on all the details now, but basically with Red Gold or RG Transport being the buyer, they'll be paying off what we would have had to borrow.
Right.
And just transfer ownership. It's great. It's unbelievable the way it worked out. You know, because we took a chance. We thought we might have had to sit on that property for 6 months or a year, but we didn't.
That's awesome.
We just rolled it over.
And it was a parcel that was not within our city limit boundaries before now. And
It
so
will be.
It will be a part of our city limits, and so not only will there be jobs back in that facility, but there's tax revenue that has never been realized by the city of Elwood.
Right.
The county has realized tax
Right.
revenue from, but never the city of Elwood, and so that was a major accomplishment, and so our second at bat is set up to be another home run. So
At least a
we
triple.
set the bar pretty high, Bill. It's going to be hard to keep.
Well, you guys are on a roll.
Well, again, it's just you have to believe in sales. You know, the key is to really believe in whatever it is that you're selling. And for us as mayor and as an economic development director, we kind of do. You know, our roles are the same in many ways. It's important. Our product is the city of Elwood, and you have to really believe in it, and we do. And so it becomes an easy sell because we really do believe in this community, and this community's proven itself over and over again, and that we can do pretty amazing things for a small community when we all get together. So there's more things.
Okay.
I don't want to harp on one of them, but there's more that you want to talk about. And
You guys gave me a whole list.
Bill's been burning the midnight oil here. I think 9 o'clock last night, and Susan probably doesn't like me too well right now because he's
I had
been home a lot.
deadlines, things on deadlines and stuff for NDOT projects, and this week's been a hectic week.
There's lots going on. I mean, you don't see the paving trucks out there without a lot of work behind it, and so lots going on.
Next, we can talk about the blight removal for the redevelopment.
Like, you want to start with state plating?
Sure.
State plating was a property that the ERC received from the county commissioners and went through the tax sale, and the county commissioner deeded it over to the redevelopment commission. And it's a big industrial site, about 19 acres, give or take. And it's blighted, definitely blighted. And there were, we ended up, there's so much steel out there. We got a salvage company to come in and look at it and estimate the value of the steel. And we asked them if they could do the demolition for the salvage value. Well, it turned out there's enough steel there, they can do the demolition and pay us. We're going to get money. The redevelopment commission will receive funds from and a demolition too. It'll be the demolition will take it down to the concrete pad. We can't get into we can't take out the foundation or the pad because there's still some underground testing going on, and that's being paid for by historic insurance for a previous owner, and that needs to keep on going. But the demolition, and it's going to actually remove two sites. Central Siding property across from Casey's on Main Street. Now, Central Siding didn't have as much steel, and it had other things left over inside that was basically junk and just required dumpsters to remove it. So we ended up signing a contract with Ritchie Salvage and Excavating for $40,000. They provided $40,000 up front. They do the state plating demolition, then they go to Central Siding, and when they complete the Central Siding, we're going to pay them $10,000 for that because there wasn't the steel salvage value. But in the long run, we're going to get $30,000 for two blighted properties, and they're business, commercial, and industrial. One of them's big industrial, the other one's a business property. So that's another thing.
To remove blight and make money off of it too.
Yeah, and make
Yes.
money too.
Yeah.
It's like, who would've, I never would've thought it. And I mean, other people, if other mayors and cities are watching this City Falls, they're probably out there going, how do they do this? How does that one do this? I mean.
It's the great minds of this city. Now, you were telling me about a $625,000 blight elimination project.
Yeah, it's a fairly new program. And we don't even know all the details, but we were awarded through an application process, and this is where the Madison County Council of Governments actually help us communities out, the smaller communities especially. And they broke up into divisions. We were in Division 3, but $625,000. We submitted 39 properties, and the application, the dollar amount is based on the 39 properties. Just the nuts and bolts of it, as much as I know now, we were allowed up to $15,000 for a blighted property for acquisition, demolition, and all the current costs, paperwork, deed, and stuff like that. $15,000 for a property without a basement. A property with a basement up to $25,000. So depending on the properties, out of about 39 properties, it all averaged. Some had basements, some didn't, but that's how we came up with the $625,000 total. They were the allowance amount. Now we get into the actual nuts and bolts and start doing demolitions, and the acquisition costs. Some of them we get donated by the county commissioners. We have hardly any acquisition costs. Just some paperwork, the deed transfers, and all that. Maybe cost $500 or so. And if we can get a demolition done on that property for $8,000 or $10,000, even, we still have $5,000. If it's a single-story house, we have $5,000. We can roll that back into the program. We can just keep doing more, the way I understand it. So we're going to have it's so new of a program. Ron asked me, and the program director is Rayanna Bender, and I contacted her and established a line of communication with her early on. And actually, Tom Doan, I need to tell this. Tom Doan, the building commissioner, planning director, is really the main instrumental person in this grant. He's the one, and his staff, Evelyn Hill and
yes.
Melissa Brandon, they jumped on it, and they put together the package, the binder with all the properties, pictures, and all the information. That
legal descriptions,
all that
everything,
stuff. They
lots
did
and lots of work. That
lots
was
of work.
Huge application.
Huge application, exactly, and they did all that. We have a meeting scheduled next Thursday with the program director. She's agreed. I contacted her. She agreed to come up and just sit down with the mayor and I and Tom Doan and just personally explain it to us so we can have a better idea of what's going on. And also last week or so, I got a phone call from somebody. It's through the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, IHCDA, or you might call it ICTA, however you want to say. We got a friend that calls it ICTA, but it's IHCDA. Anyway, I got a call from somebody, and the Indiana Association of City and Towns annual conference is up in Fort Wayne, and they asked me if I'd be willing to sit in on the panel discussion for this program. I hesitated. I said, I'm the type of guy, I like to know all the details about stuff. And they said, well, don't worry about that. We'll have technical people there. We just want somebody representing the local community and how positive this is for a local community and how it helps a community like Elwood. So I said, okay, I'll do it. So I'll be on that panel.
So this is a reminder and kudos to Bill, because we really are on the cutting edge here in Elwood of tackling these huge problems that many cities and towns have been facing for a while. That is, how do you eliminate all the blight, and how do you get ownership, and what do you do with them, and how do you transfer ownership? Who removes them? There's so many questions, so many steps to the process that we have been working very hard on the last 3 years, figuring out an answer to every one of those questions. And I think what we forget is we really are on the cutting edge in this community of tackling those problems. And so
We are.
I think you were
We are.
surprised. You become a go-to guy for the whole state. This IACT is the Indiana Associations of Cities and Towns, and they are the go-to organization from all elected officials, clerk treasurers, mayors, city council, city attorney. I mean, anyone involved in local government. IACT is the go-to organization on how to do something, how not to do it, all the legalities to it. And so for Bill to become a go-to person on this issue, I mean, just we get so caught up in we're doing all these things that we forget that not everyone else maybe is driving quite as hard as we've been. And so we are now out there sort of blazing a trail.
Elwood was successful with the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority previously. We have a track record. That's one of the things they told us. That the city of Elwood has a track record because we received the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, the $2.2 million funds, and we worked through that and we did everything right. We turned in all the paperwork, and the final amount of money that we used that for was to eliminate the downtown building that used to be called Past Eddie's. That was the final amount of money that we used for that. Then they had a deadline, we had to turn it back in. So we do have a track record of being proactive and working with their department.
And we found creative ways to utilize those funds and give us a little back as we had to. So we really took that down to the minimum, that we could, and found creative ways. I mean, we even kind of tested the program folks on, just being creative in what we could do with those funds, so that we weren't giving back anything we didn't have to.
Yes.
And so we have been sort of blazing a trail in this whole.
Yeah, they probably, like Ron's talking about, we blaze our own trail with the blight elimination, with the redevelopment commission, getting the donations and stuff, and doing our own blight. But then to get a grant on top of it, it just expands the horizons of the blight elimination. And
but again, that too, I want folks to understand that's a collaborative effort with the county, and so our county commissioners have to have a vision for how important it is and what we're trying to accomplish in our city, because they're left with these properties when they're abandoned, and so they just want folks to own them and pay property tax. They don't want to be in the real estate business. That's not what county commissioners really want to spend their time. It's not really what they were intended to have to do. And so when we first started putting that package together of more than 50 properties, that had never been done. And so folks were saying, I don't know if they're going to give those to you. But we put together a plan and a vision of what we could accomplish, and would you say we're halfway there on that first group? I think conservatively we could say of those 50 or so properties, we're halfway there in getting them.
Because the state blading property and the central siding property, that's part of that group.
It was all part of that original group. And so more than 20 of those have been transferred to individual owners. Blight's been removed. Old homes have come down, buildings have come down. Folks are improving them. And so
We've challenged our city attorney on numerous occasions to figure out ways to work through the process.
He's been super. Jim has been
Jim
absolutely
Wilson, we should mention,
super.
we got to mention Jim Wilson.
He has been, he by far, Elwood is so blessed to have someone that is that knowledgeable in municipal law and all things associated with municipal government. He's right here in Elwood. And there are other communities that come to him from outside of Elwood, but we're fortunate to have him right here. And he's not said no to it. When we say, hey, here's our challenge, here's what we need to accomplish, he's shared our vision and figured out a way, and has a great working relationship with the folks on the county level. John Richwine has been great as a county commissioner, been super. He's got an Elwood focus. On the council, Lisa Hobbs has been super. She's from Elwood. She's got an Elwood focus. So we're blessed with county level folks that care about Elwood, share our vision. It's been super all the way. So
There's all kinds of things going on in town.
and this blight elimination it's a first. This is a new program, and that's $625,000 invested in this community. It did not come out of our local property tax. It did not come out of our general fund budget. Bill and Tom went out and found that money. And that's one of the things we talked about. We were going to be aggressive in finding grants and funding sources and ways to help us tackle this problem. Remember, we started 2012 with over 400 abandoned properties in this community. And so, tall order. And so, between the first 50 or so, the blight elimination project, we're going to be somewhere 25% of the problem we will tackle.
I think there's private partnerships. There's private individuals that are buying properties. They saw what they can be done, and through the commissioner's tax sale, we got properties, but also private individuals could get properties that way and do their demolition or rehab the properties, get them back on their tax sales or the tax rolls, I should say. And I think it's kind of worked into where more people are working on making Elwood a better place.
Yeah, I think when we step back here at the end of this year and evaluate how many properties now are left, I think we're going to find that, by what we've incentivized on our end and the private interest that has been renewed in the community, we're probably nearing halfway there on tackling this problem. And going into it, I didn't know how long it would take. None of us did. But it's sure come together a lot more quickly.
We even had mortgage companies. Wells Fargo had 2 properties that they are upside down on. Couldn't do anything with them, couldn't sell them, and they donated those 2 properties to the redevelopment commission, and we've in turn got them out to 2 different individuals that are doing the rehabs, and they'll be income producing rental properties. They'll be paying taxes and everything else. So it's a lot of things that's happened that we didn't realize we could do.
Determination will take you a long way.
Yes. That's how I broke my arm. We've been
wondering
joking all
about
day. Bill and I we had a lunch meeting. We've been out and about today working on some projects that are coming up, and I've been asked, "What'd you do to your arm?" And I said, "Well, I found out what Bill's head's made of. It's made of concrete." So, but I say that and not being derogatory to Bill, you've got to have dogged determination to take these projects on and be more determined to succeed than those who would like to see you fail are. And that is not as easy as it is to do as it is to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, 3 years into this, it's not. It is hard to get up every day and be more determined than those folks who are against you are. And you've got to love this community more than they don't like it. And so I'm very grateful to Bill for being more determined than me, I think, in many ways, to sort of take these things on. And it's easy for me to throw them out, but Bill's the guy that's got to sit at the computer at 9 o'clock at night and make sure the forms are filed with the state, and the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and that's the stuff you never see. But you don't become a go-to person in this if you're not professional, if you're not doing these things the right way and being successful. And so I just can't say that enough. But again, it's the Tom Domes and the Bill Savages and the Jim Robertsons and I'm the least of the overall component of this. And so I just want to say that again. I'm thrilled that Bill's head is made of concrete in a good way. He is determined enough to take a beating, and that's really not how I broke my arm, but
it's a good story.
It's a great story. So,
and to wrap up, This is the contract, the agreement for the $625,000 that as soon as we sign off, I'll be getting the mayor's signature on.
Wonderful. That's a great surprise.
That's a lot of paper right there too, by the way.
3 original copies.
It
Oh,
is.
okay.
I think, you know, we're going to be adding up, and I know April loves to run numbers and facts and all that, and so we're going to be adding up in honor of April on how much money that we have brought into this city in the last 3 years, and so we're going to be adding that up. And
That'll be some awesome
and,
numbers to
It's
see.
going to be some awesome numbers because, look, if you own property in this community, it's been a long time coming that it increased in value. And that's what all of this investment means. Warner Body's investing $5 million in that facility, $7 million payroll, people working there, the lights are on, they're a utility customer again. The folks who live around that facility, their property values is higher. And so I can't wait to run those numbers and talk about how much money we've went out and found and brought into this community and are bringing in. So that's good news if you are a homeowner or a property owner in this community. It's great news. It's great for our schools, for our library, for our city, and for our residents. So can't wait to run those numbers. So we'll get those for you, April. And
Put it to work.
yeah. I'm going to make her add them up.
Well, I can tell you real quick, it's in 3 years, we've brought in more than we did in 8 years prior.
That's phenomenal.
And that 8 years, it was $6.5 million, which is not bad. We were way ahead of all the rest of the community, anybody around Elwood. We brought in more federal dollars, grant money. We got $2.2 million in the stimulus, the ARRA program. We got the $2.2 million in neighborhood stabilization. That's 4.4, and then there's other 400,000, 500,000 different grants involved. But I know right now we're over probably around 8 million or more.
Yeah. And I want to just say, that's not indebtedness. That's not money we've borrowed. It's not money we're paying back. We've not encumbered the city with that money. That's money we went out and found and brought into this community. And that's a big deal. That's
Yes,
a big deal.
a very big
And that's
deal.
the only way that we can make these things happen. I know I was, early on I was being harangued a little bit for, where's my money trees? Where am I finding this money and all that? Well, so a lot of hard work. Again, a lot of dogged determination and going out and finding it and wrestling it away from other communities that have been taking it and maybe taking some of ours they shouldn't have been in the past. And so
It only goes up from here.
that's right. It's going up. So, wow, we talked about a lot today.
Yeah, we
didn't
did. Well, I want to thank you guys for talking with us. A lot of good information. A lot of money talked about. I'll tell you that right now. We'll have some more numbers for you here in a few days or maybe a week or so. If you have any questions, please ask. I'd like to thank you all for watching this edition of City Pulse.